Howdy everybody, David here, and this is another Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition class breakdowns for the baseline Barbarian and its class features. So, the Barbarian is an in-your-face melee weapon, slash 'em, pound 'em, crush 'em type of playstyle. So, it's really fun to play one of these Barbarians because of the rage and everything else that they get. Now, recommended races for the Barbarian would probably be something like a dwarf for the strength or con, maybe a human. That's if you want to go maybe the optional feat route with extra skills. Now, I would probably consider taking a look at the half-orc because of not only its starting stats, but the actual reckless ability that it gets that allows you to add an additional weapon die onto a crit, and coupled with several of the class features later on that the Barbarian gets, could really be a deadly Barbarian. So, main stats for the Barbarian, straightforward. It's really easy. Strength, Constitution, and if you're doing your unarmored bonus, you'll want some dex also. The Basically, 1d12 hit points is what they get per level. You start with a 12 plus your Constitution modifier, basically max hit points, and every level after level 1, you can do two things. That's if your Dungeon Master allows it. You can either roll a d12 or take a static 7, so you don't have to take that chance and get a 1 or 2. So that's if your Dungeon Master allows it. Now, proficiencies for the Barbarian, they do get proficiencies in light and medium armor and shields, but you will not use those unless if you're going to use your unarmored bonus. Now, take into consideration you can use a shield with unarmored bonus. Weapons, they can use all simple weapons, all martial weapons. They do not get any proficiencies in ranged. Now, they do not get any tools, unlike several of the other classes. They will, like the rogue, will get thieves tools. The Barbarian gets no tool proficiencies. Now, there are saving throws that you're going to get to add your proficiency bonus in. They are in Strength and Constitution, and you're going to get to choose 2 skills from the following list of Animal Handling, Athletics, Intimidation, Nature, Perception, and Survival. Now, starting gold or equipment depends on what you want to do. Now, first off, you can go ahead and take a flat 2d4 times 10, and you can have that for gold, but you're going to have to buy your weapons, your armor, and all of your other equipment. But if you do not do that, you will get some flat starting equipment here. You know, like you could take an axe or any martial weapon, 2 hand axes or a simple weapon, and you can also take an explorer's pack. And also take into consideration when you choose your background, that is going to have a couple more proficiencies that you're going to start with for skills, and you're going to get some more equipment and a little bit of starting cash also. So you can do the two things. You know, you could either roll for your money or you could take everything else. I kind of like going the background plus class route and getting everything that way because it works out really good. So, you're going to notice here on the matrix for the Barbarian, the levels are level 1 to 20. The proficiency bonus is standard like in every other class in D&D 5e. You're going to start with a 2, and then you're going to end up with a maximum of plus 6. Now, you got 2 things that you got to worry about as a Barbarian. Your rages, which is your bread and butter for the class, and then you get a rage damage bonus that you can add on top of whatever weapon you're using, on top of the modifier too. So that will always scale with your level to a maximum of plus 4 damage, and then you'll get unlimited, by the time you're level 20, unlimited rages, which is really nice. But you're going to have to really be careful with raging, especially between rest. So let's go ahead and dive on into these features, and we'll break them down one by one for you guys. So first is the bread and butter of the Barbarian. Like I said, this is rage. Now in battle, you fight with primal ferocity. On your turn, you can enter a rage as a bonus action. And while raging, you're going to gain several benefits if you are not wearing heavy armor. So 2 keys right there. You have to have a bonus action to declare you're raging, and when you rage, You cannot be wearing any heavy armor or you won't be able to rage. Now, these benefits that you're going to get to have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. So advantages, you roll twice and you take the best result. Really nice benefit. Also, you're going to, when you make your melee attack using strength, you will gain a bonus to the damage roll that increases as you gain levels as the Barbarian, like I showed you on the table, where you're going to start with the +2 damage bonus and then it will maximize to a +4 bonus. And that's, like I said, that's on the Barbarian Matrix. Now the last benefit that you're going to get, which is really, really, really undervalued, but such a great perk, you get resistance to all 3 melee and range types of damage, whether it be bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. And if you do not know what resistance does, in 5th edition, resistance basically means you take half damage. So if Snaggletooth the orc hits you for 30 bludgeoning damage, and if you are raging, you will only take 15 bludgeoning damage. So while you're raging, resistance is incredible. So you're going to get resistance, you're going to get your bonus damage, and you're going to get advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Really nice perks for raging. Now, if you're able to cast spells, you cannot cast them or concentrate and keep a spell concentrated while raging. This was probably put in for multi-classing. So if you think you're going to play a Barbarian and rage and start casting spells, it's not going to work, and the rules state that. So the last thing is your rage lasts for 1 minute, and it ends early if you're knocked unconscious, or if it ends and you haven't attacked and a hostile creature hasn't hit you since your last turn. So basically, it's kind of worded a little bit weird, but for your entire turn, if you do not attack, and that's the key word, attack. It doesn't mean you have to hit. It just means that you have to attack. If you do not attack, by the end of the next turn, it'll drop. Now, if something hits you and you don't attack, then that's going to make it drop also. So that's 2 ways that it could drop. And the third way is you can actually end the rage on your turn as a bonus action. So if you have a bonus action, you can end it immediately. It just costs a bonus action. So, and remember, like we looked at on the Barbarian Matrix, you can rage a certain amount of times starting with level 2. Well, starting at level 1, you can rage twice. All the way down to when you're level 20, you can rage unlimited times. Really nice. So rage is pretty much your bread and butter. Now, next at level 1, you're going to get unarmored defense. And what unarmored defense does is it gives you a really nice armor to compensate for you not wearing that heavy armor. So, take into consideration, you cannot be wearing any armor whatsoever. Even though you have, light and medium proficiencies, you cannot wear any armor at all to get this bonus. So when you're using your unarmored defense bonus, it starts with a base of 10, plus your dexterity modifier, plus your constitution modifier. Really nice. And it also states that you can use a shield and still get this benefit. Really nice. So you can, instead of going, all the time, 2-handed axe, you could go maybe a 1-handed axe and a shield if you want a little bit more defense. So unarmored defense is really nice for the Barbarian. Next, at level 2, you're going to get reckless attack. And this is when you can throw aside all concern for defense to attack with fierce desperation. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. And when you decide that you want to attack recklessly, this gives you advantage on melee attacks using your strength modifier during this turn, but you need to take into consideration all attacks against you are going to have advantage too. So basically, at the start of your turn, you need to, on your first attack, you need to decide, do I want a reckless attack or not? If you're surrounded by creatures, it may not be a good idea to reckless attack, because sure, you may get advantage on your attack, but it also states that attack rolls against you are going to have advantage until the start of your next turn. So pros, cons, it's definitely a situational class feature, and you really need to take that into consideration before you tell the DM, yeah, I think I'm going to use Reckless Attack. So next is Danger Sense. And this is a level 2 feature also, and this is where you gain an uncanny sense of when things nearby are not as they should be, giving you an edge when you dodge away from danger. So this means that you're going to have advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects that you can see, such as traps and spells. And you'll gain this benefit as long as you don't have the conditions of being blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. So if Zelos the Rogue is picking that chest, picking the lock of that chest, oops, he fails, boom, an explosion happens, everybody needs to take dexterity saving throws for that fireball that just came out, then you'll at least have advantage, which is really nice. So as long as you can see it, you'll have advantage. If you got your back turned, then you will not get the danger sense bonus. It's pretty straightforward. Now, next is another bread and butter thing for the Barbarian. This is your primal path. Now, at level 3, you're going to get to choose between 2 different archetypes. The first one is the Path of the Berserker, and the second one is the Path of the Totem Warrior. So you'll be able to see those class breakdowns for those features, for those archetypes in later videos, but all of both of those archetypes are going to give you more class features that stack on top of what we're already talking about in this video. And the class features that you're going to get for those 2 different archetypes, you're going to get at level 3, you're going to get at level 6, level 10, and level 14. So wow, the Barbarian is a really cool class. I mean, not cool, but yeah, it is cool. But you're going to get even more power on top of what you're getting now. So that's Primal Path. Now, at level 4, you're going to see that you get these things called ability score improvements. And these can do 2 things. First off, when you hit level 4, 8, 12, 16, or 19, you're going to get these. So the Barbarian class gets a total of 5. Pretty nice. Not as many as the Fighter, they get 7, but the Barbarian still gets 5. Now what the ability score improvement does is this. You can take and raise one ability score by 2. Or you can take 2 ability scores and raise them by 1 apiece. So if your strength is an 18, you want to raise it to 20, there you go. You can use your 2 points. Say your constitution and your strength are both 17, and you want to raise them both to 18 to get the next bonus for the modifier bonus, then you can take and raise each one by 1. Take into consideration, when you use ability score improvements, you can never, ever, ever take a stat above the maximum of level 20. Stats can go over level 20, but by using ability score improvement, they can't go over 20. Straightforward. Now, also take into consideration for the ability score improvement that there is an optional rule in Chapter 6 in the customization portion of the Player's Handbook that allows you can forego taking that ability score improvement and you can take a feat. And in Chapter 6, there's many pages of feats that you can take, and there are some really nice feats that would go good with the Barbarian, like Savage Attacker. So if your Dungeon Master allows you to use feats, maybe if you already have your 20 strength and your 20 con, and if you have enough dex for your unarmored armor defense, then maybe if your DM allows you, you could take that feat as an optional. So, but just take into consideration, if you do take that feat, then you do not get any ability points to spend. And next up is Barbarian Extra Attack. Straightforward, level 5, meaning you can attack twice instead of once, but you have to take the attack action on your turn. So, straightforward. That's level 5. So you'll get 2 attacks around. At level 5, you're also going to get fast movement, and what fast movement does is it increases your speed by 10 while you're not wearing any heavy armor. So you can be wearing You could be wearing the light armor, you could be wearing medium armor, and if that is true, then your speed will increase by 10, which is really nice. So if if you have a 30 feet movement, then now you have a 40 feet movement. Wow, really nice. Especially when you have, multiple attacks and you can attack multiple creatures, maybe finish one off, run a little bit extra, attack another one. So yeah, fast movement is really nice. Feral Instinct, you're going to get this at level 7. And this is when your instincts are so honed that you have advantage on initiative rolls. Wow, that's really nice. Additionally, if you are surprised at the beginning of combat and you are not incapacitated, you can act normally on your first turn, but only if you enter your rage before doing anything else on the turn. That's self-explanatory right there. So you're going to get advantage on initiative rolls, so you're going to get to roll twice, take the best, and if you're surprised and you're not incapacitated, then you can act normally on your first turn as long as you use your bonus action to rage. So, alright, there you go. That's Feral Instinct. Now, you got more ability score improvements. We've already talked about those. We won't do that. Brutal Critical. This is a very, very, very strong class feature for you. So, beginning at 9th level, you can roll 1 additional weapon damage die when determining the extra damage for a critical hit with a melee attack. And that is crazy. So, instead of the critical already does 2 weapon damage, so Brutal Critical is going to let you add another one, which is going to make it 3. And remember, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're playing the half orc, you're going to be able to add another die. So at level 9, you can, if you're playing a half orc, you could be doing 4 weapon damage for a crit instead of 2. That's really crazy. Now, you're going to notice one more thing about this. It's going to scale to your level. So you're going to get to add another critical die at 13 and another die on top of that at 17. So you could get a maximum of 6 weapon damage plus your your rage bonus plus your modifier at level 17. But that's if you're playing a half orc. If you're not playing a half orc, then you'll get plus 5, which is still ridiculous. Really nice. So Brutal Critical, that's another bread and butter right there. So next up at level 11, you're going to get Relentless Rage. And this is when your rage can keep you fighting despite grievous wounds. So, if you drop to 0 hit points while you're raging and you do not die outright, you can make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. And if you are successful on this Constitution saving throw, you will now have 1 hit point instead of 0 hit points and going unconscious. Really nice. Now, this can happen more than once. And, the first time, it's just a DC 10, so it'd be 1d20. Now, the second time, the DC will increase by 5. So, instead of the DC 10, it's going to be a DC 15. So now you're going to have, the second time, you got to roll 15 or higher. And if not, then you go to 0 and you're unconscious. So and then it resets after a short or long rest. So depends on if you have a short or long rest, how much combat you're doing. Relentless Rage is really strong. It can actually keep you up when you probably would most likely go down. So level 15, you're going to get Persistent Rage, and this is when your rage is so fierce that it ends early, only if you fall unconscious or if you choose to end it. So remember, at level 1, when you get rage, you have a 1-minute duration on rage. When you hit level 15, the 1-minute duration goes out the window. There's no more duration. So the only time that you can end it, 2 ways. You can end it, or you fall unconscious. That's the only ways. Really nice. Pretty straightforward. Alright, next up is Indomitable Might, and that is level 18. This is really nice. So if your total for a strength check is less than your strength score, you can use that score in place of that total. So by level 18, chances are you're probably going to have a 20 strength, an 18 or 20 strength. Now, if you roll a 7 strength check, then wow, holy crap. You now have an automatic 18 or 20 strength check depending on what your strength score is. So Indomitable Might is really nice. It just substitutes the role. Last is Primal Champion. Primal Champion is definitely one of the best features at level 20 in the game for any class. Now, when you hit level 20, you're going to embody the power of the wilds. Now listen to this. Your strength and constitution scores increase by 4. And it takes you over the maximum threshold of 20 to 24. So, wow, that is great. That's not great, that's awesome. Because it's going to do a multitude of things for you. First off, when you raise a stat from 20 to 24, you're going to gain 2 more modifier points. So you're going to go from +5 at 20 to +7. And the strength is going to give you better strength saving throws, better strength skill checks. It's going to give you more attack to hit. It's going to give you more damage. What's not to like about that? Constitution, it's going to give you better constitution checks. It's going to make your hit points go up. Holy cow. Primal Champion is crazy. So that is the Barbarian baseline class features. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys understand this a little bit better. Some of the things may not be worded the best, but hey, that's why I'm making these tutorial videos. So if you need any character sheets for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, check out my website at tabletopping.net. I have 840 plus character sheets on D&D 5e from level 1 to level 20, every single class, every single archetype on nice 3-page PDFs at your disposal. So if you need a level 12 evocation wizard, just go to the website, grab it, and go to your game. Simple as that. Please feel free to leave a comment down below. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.